gon' take to get it out back? All my niggas outside, steak, bitch, we out back.
Previously on the official Urban Therapist. Salute and welcome. Let me go ahead and let you unmute yourself. There you go. I gave you permission to unmute yourself. Salute.
Okay. Thank you. Hello. Salute. How are you?
Doing good. How you doing?
Good. I'm trying to. Oh, you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it. I can't turn on my camera.
Yep. Yeah, I did that for a reason
Okay.
though.
I understand. I understand. You just want to protect your channel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, so this is my first time really. No, this is my first time coming up here. I just got done with the show myself, and you are the official urban therapist. We were talking about autism. I'm curious, what's your thoughts on that subject matter?
About autism itself or in general or what?
You know what? I'd really like to know your thoughts on how people are handling autism in the Black community. We are we educating ourselves like we should? Are we getting our children diagnosed at the rate that we should? Or are we shying away from it, you know, and kind of sweeping it under the rug? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts on that is that I believe that if you're looking at for us in the Black community, I believe that a lot of people in the Black community are aware about autism. They're aware about the situation dealing with autism. Um, the reason why I believe that they know about it is because we really didn't start hearing
She's
about.
hungry. She's hungry. They're hungry. That's why it produced.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, the reason why I know this is because let's look at the school system of our educational system. We really didn't fully start getting introduced about autism until the educational system started getting involved with it. We at first we was saying that our children have like ADHD and different things like that, right? That eventually it went from ADHD to, well, your kid's autistic now. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
that's when we really start finding out about that in the Black community. Now, for us doing our due diligence or getting a prognosis and diagnosis for that, I also believe that's a case by case with people in the Black community, but people are aware of that going on. You know what I'm saying? So that's long story short. Yeah, I believe that everyone is aware of that, and I don't think that it's a serious issue in our community unless we are
Mhm.
making that become a serious issue. Then on
So
top of, oh, sorry, go ahead.
when you say it's not a serious issue, I'm not sure if I really understand. Can you break that down a little bit for me?
No, when I'm saying that it's not a serious issue, I'm saying it in a sense that it's not um a serious issue for as the lack thereof, if that make any sense. Meaning that um people are aware of autism, especially in the Black community. They are very much aware of that, and they are also aware of the different resources that are available for um, any type of children that dealing with autism itself. So that's why I'm saying that it's not serious because we are aware of it. If that makes any sense.
Okay. Okay. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. I think that we could use more funding. I think that we could use more education.
Hmm.
If you have autism, you're often very sensitive to sound.
True.
Um, you sometimes have difficulty expressing your desires and what your needs are. You do much better when you are in smaller classrooms, things of that nature. And I think that we really need to advocate for our children to get those things.
Hmm. Yeah, and I agree to that. But the other part about that is that I know, well, for example, in the state that I reside in, I know that we have services for that, for sure, to help deal with, children who have autism. We got a whole lot of different services. There are different programs, and just like I said before, even the educational system is aware of, children who deal with autism. So there are programs deal with that as well too. Not to mention that even in whether it's public school system or private school, whatever the case may be, that is why in the school system they have counselors there or have psychologists or even therapists there for different situations like that, especially dealing with autism.
Well, the thing that I would say about that is if you want your child to be successful, you really want to have early diagnosis.
Hmm.
Most kids don't go to school or not in a traditional school system until the age of 5, maybe 4 or at the earliest. And you you really want to try to get them diagnosed as soon as possible, maybe as early as 3. And the reason why you want to do that is because you can start developing best practices and tools along with a very strong routine
Hmm.
that will help them build on their strengths. Quite frankly, um, job opportunities for children who know their strengths when they're autistic are actually um, growing. But if your child has not been developing their strengths, and if you start too late, um, then you really put your child behind. So I'll give you an example. Quite often, really far too often, children are not diagnosed until they're in the 7th grade. And so you get other complaints. You might say, your child gets sick at home, your child doesn't listen, your child is acting out. So you get these complaints about your child
Hmm.
versus getting a actual diagnosis that will help your child. Um, and then they can be celebrated versus tolerated.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I agree with that. Now, um, the only thing about that goes back to what you were saying earlier, though. The awareness starts with the parents, correct? So the one parents have to be aware of that certain behavior traits or certain triggers could lead
Mhm.
to their child to be either prognosed or diagnosed with autism. Is that correct?
Mhm. Absolutely. And so I think um, it's very challenging for parents as it is to be aware of someone who is neurotypical and their needs. And so if you have a child that is neurodivergent,
Hmm.
let's not just say the child is bad, or if we're just seeing behaviors that are, popping up, let's not be so concerned about other things, and let's invest in the child's strengths and get them diagnosed, even
Absolutely.
as early as 3 years old. you know don't be afraid to take them to be examined, because the reality is there is nothing wrong with your child having autism.
Hmm.
That just simply means that they have different strengths than other people, and they might not be as socially aware.
Yeah, true, true. But which I agree with that too. Um, here's the challenging part about that. Um, being a parent, right? We look at our children as being this being what's the better word? Perfect. We look at our children as being perfect. There's nothing wrong with our children, even when we see signs of different type of behavioral traits that happen with our children. Like, say for example, like earlier I was talking about the ADHD and different things like that. We know that our children are hyperactive, right? But we don't accept it. We don't accept it. We don't start accepting it until we actually introduce them into the culture or introduce them into the social norm. Especially when we introduce them into the early school system, like early head starts or different things like that, where other people actually start noticing the behavior traits before the parent do. And then when they tell them about
Well,
it,
that
yeah, and they
that's
tell them
exactly
about it,
what
right?
I'm saying. Yeah, that is what made me ask the question in the first place. I think it's time that we begin to move differently.
Hmm.
We got to move a little bit differently,
Yeah,
you
true.
know, because if a child is if someone is neurodivergent, they're even more likely to be harmed by police. And just to highlight for you, bring to your remembrance, Elijah McClain had
Yeah,
autism, and the
facts.
police did not understand his movements and his behavior, and that's one of the reasons why he's no longer with us today.
Facts. I agree. I agree. And that goes even with the one with that justice system as well too. That the officers should have been aware of the type of behavior traits that he was resembling, but they wasn't. They wasn't even educated about that. But
Right.
um, another thing about that too, like I stated earlier, that there actually are services available, right? Here's another one issue too that I want to bring to your attention. There are services available, free services available with depending on your state where you reside in. You know what I'm saying? But however, sometimes the parents doesn't take advantage of the services that's available to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's based on lack of knowledge of the services that's available, or just like I also stated, because they just not accepting it. Because once again, parents do look at their children as being perfect, even their behavior as being perfect. That is nothing wrong with them, knowing that they resemble, these type of behaviors that's more likely it's not going to be socially acceptable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I completely agree with that last statement you made, and we just have to start looking at our children as little humans that are developing versus um, there's something wrong with them. Like I
Hmm.
said, if you have a child that has autism, even if you have a child that has ADHD, um, they're better. You can put them in certain environments where they will thrive,
True.
and you get educated about those types of things. And then Joy just pointed out to us. She said, once again, it begins with the parents being beginning in early childhood development.
Hmm.
And I agree with that, and that's what I was pointing out in the beginning. But it really feels like that it almost feels like it's a cloud that we're not necessarily doing that. We're not really paying attention to reading so early, paying attention to teaching our children um, the sight words so early,
Hmm.
socializing our children beyond the television. And I'm not saying all parents aren't doing that. I just want our children to be receiving every opportunity that they can to be, I don't know, to make it a great life for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed. Did another thing too. Another thing about that too is that some parents, they believe that it's not their responsibility to do that. They believe that it's responsibility of the educational system to do that for them. And the reason why they believe that is for
Do
two
you think
reasons.
that's a healthy belief?
No, not at all.
Right.
But
I think that is not a healthy belief
yeah,
at all.
it's not. But they do it for two reasons. The first part of it is because they being irresponsible as parents. That's the first part. And the second part is that they believe that since they are law-abiding citizens, that they're working and paying taxes. They believe that since they're paying taxes, they're paying teachers and educators to do the services for them. So that's why they don't do it. But it's not all parents like that. But it is parents who have that behavior like that. I just want to point that out.
I definitely think that's an unhealthy mentality. And if that's someone's thought process, listen, teachers are not babysitters.
Mm-mm.
They are there to guide in the education, but education really has to start at home. And as
Facts.
you have heard on the news and everywhere else, your child might be taught something completely backwards and upside down about who you are, who they are, and what their life is for. So I would not depend on the education system to teach my child
Mm-mm.
alone and by themselves. Mm-mm, not
Mm-mm.
in a million years.
Not at all. Especially in the public school system as well too. They well, whatever the politicians want the children to learn, that's what they're gonna learn. It don't matter what it is. So every it don't matter if it's critical race theory, whatever the curriculum gonna be, that's what they're gonna learn. Period. But it's I learned that it's different. When you talk about in the private school sector or in other school sector that are more wealthier than the urban areas that resides through public school systems.
You know something, I will say this. You get out a lot of times what you put in. You really do. And I'm
Mhm.
not going to say that urban schools are not at a disadvantage. They are, but a way to get a good outcome, if somehow, some way, you can make yourself a regular presence at the school. Walk in the school, volunteer for the school, um, find a time when you can put your eyes on the teacher, where you can make your presence known. You know, everybody can't take off work, but can you do a Zoom call? Can you send a note?
Mhm.
Can you send a card? Can you reach out and ask for progress reports? Just a little bit goes a long way. And then I want to read this comment from Joy because it's really hitting the nail on the head. And she says, FYI, um, don't ask your child, how was your day? Instead, say, hey, tell me something that happened good today at school or what happened bad. And I
Mhm.
really love that. I just got done talking with my girlfriend about this because if how was your day? That sounds it doesn't sound personal, it doesn't sound specific, and it doesn't really draw anything to memory. But when you make it more specific, they
Mhm.
know that you really want them to highlight something, and it brings something to memory. So I
Yeah.
love that comment, Joy.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I agree to it as well too. That is a great comment. That is one of the techniques that I utilize with my children as well too. I don't ask them like, "Well, how's your day?" Because the comment is just a generalized statement, and so they're gonna give you a
Mhm.
generalized generic answer. Oh, it's good. That's it. Like, okay, what was good about it? But it was
Exactly.
based
Or
on
better
what I've
yet, wait
seen.
a minute. It was cool.
It was cool.
It
It's
was
all
cool,
right.
right?
It was all
Yeah, it
right.
was all right. It was all right. You just get a non-specific answer.
Mhm.
And I'm going to double down on that, Joy, and to say, learn your friends, be specific, learn your friends' names, ask about specific
Mm.
people,
Facts.
follow the storyline. There is definitely a storyline. Just like our situations go from one day to the next.
Hmm.
It tends to be a saga. Follow up on the things that's been happening day by day, so that way you are in the know, you're in the in crowd as well, so they feel like that you are part of their journey.
Yeah, facts. And that's good too. Then another thing about that technique that we're talking about, that technique is also good as far as effective communication, even in your relationships. Does
Oh,
imagine
100%.
your significant other come in and ask you the same question. How was your day? Oh, it was good. It's all right. Or come
Exactly.
back and say, man, I hate that beat. Like, okay.
But not to be. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? It has been good talking to you. I just wanted to, you know, jump on and kind of chat about that subject matter.
Hmm.
Thank you, Joy, for chiming in. You have been just wonderful to kind of get to know. I'm going to
Hmm.
jump on down, but thanks for spending time with me.
Real quick, do you have a channel?
Yes, it is Coach Erica Love. Yep.
Coach Erica Love. My moderators, do y'all mind dropping on Coach Erica Love channel so we can go ahead and sub up to her channel and grace her with our presence?
Oh, you
Huh?
know, well, that would be lovely. I would certainly appreciate having your presence hanging out with me. That would be a blessing.
Awesome. You say there's Coach Erica Love?
Yes, Coach Erica Love. It's Erika. Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking for you right now. You say Erika? Oh, I found you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay,
found your
yeah.
picture. All right, I got you. I got you. Subbing now.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I'll be back over another night to chat with you as well. Okay.
Salute. Hey, I appreciate you coming up as well.